Good morning, gang. Happy frigid Sunday morning. As people are starting to dig out of some of this mess, others are still getting ready for it, which is me. Okay. Looks like today will be the last day, the calm before the storm around here. But preparing for a snowstorm is one thing. Preparing for World War III is completely another. If you look at the events that happened yesterday on a Saturday, how much closer we are to all hell breaking loose in the world. Okay. We had 3 events yesterday that are going to stoke tensions, stoke fear, etc., etc. The first one that came out doesn't necessarily affect the United States, but again, it's only the information that we have. Yesterday, the Israeli Defense Forces uncovered a plot by Hamas to conduct worldwide terrorist activities. Okay? Now, the only credible, I don't even want to use the term credible, the only targets that they specifically released to the public were on Germany and the Netherlands. Okay. Well, and the Middle East. So, not necessarily on our soil. But if we have terrorist attacks starting to take place in Europe, where, let's remember, tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, if not millions of immigrants have flooded Europe in the last couple of years. Sleeper cells? Probably. Okay. Gee, that doesn't sound anything like what's happening in the United States. As much as we talk about the southern border and all the Mexicans coming across, there's been people from something like 170 of the 190 countries who have been apprehended and inevitably released into the United States. You can guarantee some of them are military-age males that are sympathetic to the cause in Gaza. What happens here? All I can say is this. It ain't going to be pretty if it happens. So then we get the next event. And if you caught this one last night, you had a bunch of pro-Palestinian and pro-Yemen protesters trying to get into the White House yesterday. Okay. They were outside the temporary security gates around the White House, trying to break them down. I don't know. I'd call that an insurrection, wouldn't you? Trying to break into the White House? Wonder how many of those people are going to be arrested, jailed, and spend years behind bars without charges ever being brought against them. I don't know. The Democrats will probably call that a mostly peaceful protest anyway. But here's the thing. You look at those 2 events, and you look at the mindset of Americans in regards to radical Islam. I wouldn't say we are as compassionate as we were after 9/11 at this point. And we don't have any reason to be. Okay? If something like Hamas's plans come out, if something like these Yemeni, pro-Palestinian protesters start to get more aggressive, the American public has been pushed to their brink, especially straight white Christian males. And it wouldn't surprise me if a couple of itchy trigger fingers started coming into play. Personally, if Hamas does anything, the last place I want to be in the United States is Dearborn, Michigan. Okay? Because that's going to wind up shooting fish in a barrel. Not that it's necessarily right, okay? But this is what you have to be prepared for, that this is what's going to happen. There's going to be plenty of people that are going to snap, okay? And I'm not going to go on political ideology here. I'm not going to say it's going to be right-wingers. I'm not going to say it's going to be left-wingers. I'm not going to say it's going to be moderates, conservatives, progressives, independents, whatever the hell you want to call yourself. There's going to be plenty of people who are just like, I can't take it anymore. And they are going to snap. Okay? Somebody's going to be walking down the street and look at them the wrong way. And that's going to happen. And that very possibly could be the proverbial shot heard around the world. Are you ready for that? Okay? Do you have a plan to get to your shelter, whether it's your house, whether it's your bug out location, whatever, whether it's your neighbors, your mothers, your kids, however you have to go somewhere? Do you have a plan to get there on a moment's notice? You're out grocery shopping and the balloon goes up. Do you have a plan to get there? You're at work. How are you going to get home? Do you have a plan to do that? Okay. We're not talking about EMP and, oh, my car doesn't work, and gee, I've got to find a bicycle, or I've got my bug out bag and I'm going to prepare for that walk home. No, we're prepared. Are you prepared for, do you have a plan for, how the hell am I going to get home in the middle of a shooting war? I'm giving you a realistic possibility here, guys. Okay. Then you add the third one yesterday, okay? And this is courtesy of our resident moron, okay? You don't know who that is by now. So apparently the United States has changed its policy in regards to China without the people knowing about it, without Congress knowing about it. It's been dictated to us by our resident moron. So yesterday, which is in Taiwan about 36 hours ago now, they had their elections, and Taiwan again elected a democratic leader, not a communist leader. We all know that China wants reunification. We all know that Taiwan doesn't. For 5 decades, the United States has officially agreed with a one China policy, but unofficially has recognized Taiwan's right to be an independent state. Okay. Well, yesterday, the moron in chief basically said to the Taiwanese people, the United States does not support your independence. We support a one China state. That's it. So that's basically giving China the go-ahead to invade. Okay. Now, of course, why does Joe do this? Well, Joe wants to make sure that his checks keep showing up in his personal account every month because, you know, Daddy President Xi told him, you're going to support us. And Joe said, otherwise we're going to cut off the payments to you and cut off the payments to Hunter and probably dump a whole bunch of dirt into the press that Joe can't have out there, blackmail money. Okay. So Joe's going to change U.S. policy unofficially, okay, which now means if China goes into Taiwan, what happens? Are we going to stand by and watch? Okay. everything that this administration is doing or allowing to be done has us on a collision course with World War III. My question is, what are you going to do? Your kids may be called up, your grandkids may be called up to fight for this. I can't think of anybody out there who's going, yeah, I want to send my kids off to war, send my kids off to die to protect Joe's bribe money. But that may be what's happening. I don't know many people who are going, yeah, I'm willing to send my kids off to war to stop the insanity that is radical Islam. We may not have to, because the way it's looking right now, we're not going to send anybody anywhere because the war is coming to us. Pinball out.